Hi, welcome to my channel, The Machine Learning Engineer. Today we continue with another video on the series LLMOps. Continue speaking about the Model Context Protocol, and today you'll build your own NCP, your your own Model Context Protocol server to connect a SQL Server database to Cloud AI, secure with OAuth 2.0 SSE and deployed in Docker behind an nginx with TLS from Let's Encrypt. The idea is to build a multi-tenant architecture or to leave everything ready to have a multi-tenant architecture, and as you can see here, be able to connect from your Cloud AI subscription from Anthropic, as you probably know, to an entry point where is the front of our let's say data, company data, private data, and connect from your subscription to different NCP servers which expose private data from your company. This data can be databases, uh, CRNs, even data on your data lake. My name is Juan. I'm a system engineer with more than 30 years of experience in the IT sector, and the last 10 years I've been dedicated to projects in the artificial intelligence and machine learning space. So what we will achieve with that? We are gonna build an NCP server that acts as a secure bridge between Cloud AI and your database. We will enable natural language questions and have the server run real SQL like select and insert, update and delete, and we will make everything production ready with nginx, a reverse proxy, TLS, SSL. Is also requirements, obviously, from Cloud AI to be able to create these custom connectors and renewal of the certificates needed from the SSL via Therbot. Um, for those which are familiar with that, what we are talking about, first of all, Cloud AI is the thin client of Claude, the Anthropic model, and then it's accessible via web. And then there is another version that you probably also know, which is Claude Desktop. Claude Desktop and Claude AI access to the same models via subscription. If you have a subscription, you can connect to your subscription and use the model that you have allowed to use, the time that you are allowed to use via either Claude AI or Claude Desktop. Both of them allow to connect to NCP servers. Both of them, there is, as you will see here, let me show you the settings. Via connectors, you had already a number of NCP servers which are available via just simply connect. Usually these connectors will ask you to authenticate via UTH 2.0, and then usually this you probably saw this many times, and the connectors that you probably or you have here are compatibles. Those that Claude provide, they are compatibles either with the thin client in Claude AI and with the thick client Claude Desktop. But if you want to do a custom connector, that is the case that we are going to do today, you have different, well, as well, there is a lot of much more NCP servers which are available for the desktop version than for the web one. In any case, to do a custom connector, you will need to follow different resources. So the tools and how you build the NCP server itself is not changing, but if you want to connect the NCP server to Cloud AI, essentially what you are doing is connecting the NCP server to cloud infrastructure. So they demand a lot of more requirements than what is required to do an NCP server which connect to the cloud desktop version. So I repeat this to keep it clear. So the NCP server itself, the tools, the prompts, everything that you are exposing, the resources that you are exposing through the NCP server is not changing. What is changing is that to connect from Cloud AI, there is a lot of more security requirements, especially security is key here, than in the desktop version. And this is pretty simple. If we go to the architecture of the NCP server, in the desktop version, we are using essentially a STDO protocol, a standard input-output protocol, to connect the client, the NCP client, and the NCP server. So in the cloud desktop, essentially is a NCP host which contain multiple NCP clients. Each NCP client is a process in your computer. Everything is happening in your infrastructure, and then when you run an NCP client inside the cloud desktop, essentially you are creating a process in your computer. This process is running the NCP client, and the NCP client will create a fork of this process, as a child process, which will run the NCP server. Additionally, the NCP client will connect to the LLM, in this case, a model in your Cloud AI subscription, Opus, Cloud Opus, or Cloud Sonnet, or whatever you want to use. But this is happening everything inside your computer. So the connection, the NCP messages from the client to server, and the responses from the server to the client are happening in the memory of your computer. Nothing go away of the computer. Obviously, the NCP server will connect as a client to your data, an SQL database, your CRM, data in your local computer, data on the cloud, whatever is your data. This is another story. But the process, everything, the connection itself, what is important from the NCP protocol perspective, is that this connection in between the client and the server is happening in your computer, in your memory, the standard input output. What happened in Cloud AI? In Cloud AI, your client and the model, your client NCP client, the Cloud AI is not more, your subscription via Cloud AI is not more like a front, a UI, which connect to an NCP client which is running on the Cloud AI infrastructure. The NCP server is running either in your infrastructure, usually in your data center, in the cloud, Azure, Google, Amazon, whatever, or even in an on-premise. And the connection in between the client and the server is happening through internet. And this connection obviously is a very, very hot point. Why? Because to access the Cloud NCP client in Cloud AI to your server, to your data, o sea, to your NCP server, which is exposing your database or your CRM or whatever you want to expose via NCP through your NCP server, need to be accessible in internet, in public. It had to have a public IP address. It had to be registered in a public domain with a certificate, with a certificate issued by a certification authority, And this, as I said, you are opening this way a door to your data. So this become a very sensible point from in terms of security, and then on that's why to do this kind of connections, first of all, Claude or Anthropic in this case demands from you to have two principal or two main requirements. I will pass you later on the documentation all these details, but essentially what Claude is demanding, or Anthropic, sorry, is to your endpoint, uh, where the endpoint that you publish in internet, it has to be obviously a public IP address, so it has to be uh, uh, a public IP address, which means you have to have a public domain. You need to buy a domain, or your company has a domain. You have to have an entry in a DNS, and you have to have a certificate issued by a recognized certification authority, which be the one which will allow to do an SSL connection in between the NCP client and your NCP server. This is point number one. That is point number one, or requirement number one. Requirement number two is the authentication in between the NCP client and NCP server has to be done via SO AUTH version 2. You have to implement the protocol dynamically to register and authenticate the client versus the server, uh, and be absolutely or completely compliant with OUTH version 2. This is mandatory. If you don't follow this procedure, you don't fulfill this requirement, you will not be able to satisfy the requirement to connect your data to Cloud AI. Why this is useful, what we are doing here? Obviously, using the OUTH version 2, we don't need to expose our credentials. It's a protocol that is broadly used to authorize and grant access to resources in internet. You probably are using, or you use it many times, and you will probably don't realize. I will give you a small example. When you try to access a resource, or when you try to to register in a, for example, let's say LinkedIn. I don't remember if LinkedIn is doing like that, but probably you are creating an account in LinkedIn or in another, or for example, in HubSpot or Salesforce. And then when in the login process, they ask you, well, give me your login name and your password, no? And then on in many cases today, they told you can do authentication with your, for example, Facebook account or with your Google account. The most typical is Google account. Or your Microsoft account, and then on. This means that it allow you to use your credentials that Microsoft or Google or whoever other providers already have registered, so you already pass an authentication process with Google. You have an account in Google, you have Gmail, you have Google Workspaces, whatever. So this means that you already are authenticated by Google, and you can use these credentials to be authenticated versus other resource, no? And then this, with this acting as a client, you are the owner of the resource, and you want to add, you want to use these credentials that you already had. You don't want to create another one. You just want to use again the credentials that you had in Google. And then usually in this process, when it's allowed, they told you you can use your Google account to authenticate or to create the credentials to access this account as well. Let's say HubSpot or Salesforce. And then you probably will see many times that is redirecting you to a pop-up, a window where it tells you which Google account you want to use. And then let's say one account, and then you You choose this account, and then you are granting this way that to use the credentials that you had already saved in Google to be authenticated to access to the new resources, in this case, Hotspot or Salesforce. Doing this way, you don't need to share your credentials. You already have one. You don't need to, to have another one. You just use the same credentials that you had in Google to access another new resources. This that is done many times. You do it manually many times. In this scenario, it's gonna work exactly the same, but dynamically. Why? Because here you cannot, how to say, grant access to the server every time. Moreover, the authentication, this process of authentication, what is finally doing, you one time or the one time when you are doing manually, as the process I mentioned before, trying to create in an account with Hotspot or Salesforce, you grant the access, and then on later when you try to access the account, the only thing that happens is automatically um, is generating some tokens to access to the server. So the client, in this case, when you try to access later, once authentication is done, you try to access to Hotspot or Salesforce. Salesforce client, the authentication redirect a petition to Google, and then only generating a token which allows you during some time access to the resources in Hotspot or Salesforce. These tokens usually have a period, expiration period of 3,600, so 1 hour. And if you are still inside the application, well, automatically it's renovated, and well, there is an expiration of the token expire. Well, maybe potentially can ask you to log in again, but well, you don't need just much more than just click on login again, and that's it. But usually this protocol allow to use some credentials from a trust authentication server to be used to access to other resources. In this scenario where we are working right now, this has to be processed automatically. Once we set up the custom connector in Cloud AI, you we are granting, this is the first step, the same that when we grant access to the resource using our account in Google, is the same that we are going to do here when we set up the custom connector first time, and then on, as this already become an authorization server, a trusted authorization server for Cloud AI, every time that you try to access from the Cloud AI UI, it will be renewing the tokens. First of all, it will verify you are a trusted connector, a trusted user, and secondly, it just will simply generate tokens for that session. The tokens is gonna work as well for 1 hour, and after 1 hour is there enough activity, the token will be cancelled, but if you ask again, it will be renegotiating another token to access to the resource. This is mandatory, and moreover, everything that you do in terms of security is how to say, is not enough, because here, as I said, I repeat again, sorry if I insist too much, is key to have this as much as sure as possible, because you are opening a door to internet, to your data. We will see during the demo some other, while I'm covering all these uh, all these steps, we will see other mechanisms to also protect the server, to make it react only, to protect which networks can access to this to the entry point, etc. Restrict access to all your resources in order to minimize the the problems that you may have. Remember always that in terms of security, the security of a system, in this case the system is the connection from your NCP client to your data, so involve the systems from Anthropic, your browser, your browser, the Cloud AI, systems or infrastructure, and your infrastructure in your data center or in Google Cloud, Amazon, or Azure, or wherever you have it. No? And then if you think carefully, what are the security of a system is the maximum security of a system is the security of your weaker component. And then think two times which ones are the most weak or the weaker components in your infrastructure. If you, let's see here, in this, probably in this, you see better. Here, you have corporate users or users which are accessing via browser to Cloud AI. Cloud AI is accessing via SSL to an entry point, a public IP address exposed in internet to your infrastructure. Here, this is your infrastructure. In your company, in your data center, it doesn't matter. And then think two times, let's imagine or imagine your company. If you compare the security of this component with this component with this component, imagine which one is the weaker. The weaker potential is this. If you are accessing remotely from your home to Cloud AI, and the Cloud AI is accessing to your data, the weaker is this, your browser. Because usually when you have an antivirus probably, but in terms of security, you probably are, you are concerned, but you don't implement a lot of security measures. The second weaker point is your infrastructure. And why not Cloud? Because believe me, Cloud is a company which is winning billions, and they take security really seriously, and they are investing on these millions as well. They had a very powerful security team, and they are even embedding security on the applications that they are serving the models. And then I believe that it will be powerful, unless that you tell me that you are Microsoft. Well, then I will say no, your company is secure than or at the same level than Cloud. But in general, and believe me, because I've been working in cybersecurity before for 15 years, usually the companies they had a medium low security implementation, and except the big corporations in the finance sector or in pharma companies, companies usually have well, teams that are not very specialized in terms of security. So the second weakest point is you, and the third is obviously the stronger point, in my opinion, is Cloud AI platform. So when you measure the security of a system, you just multiply, let's say you can rate the security of each component, and you multiply one by one, and you get, let's say, you have a score from 0 to 1 of each system, each component of the system, and the final outcome is the security of the complete system. Let's say that we have here 0.1, here 1, and here 0.2. So the security of the system is going to be 0.02, eh, which is really low. So at the end, the hackers don't attack the big corporations. They try, yeah, but the success is very low. It's better to attack a weaker point and try to access through the weaker point to other places, because, yeah, it's easy to enter here and then on try to enter here than rather than to try to attack directly Cloud AI. So you have here probably more interest because you are exposing your data. Here you are not interested. interesting for any hacker, but your corporation, your company is very interesting. If a hacker is able to access through your data and be able to do hijacking of your data or deleting your data, encrypting your data, well, this is you have really a problem. And potentially any problem in security here can be spread to Cloud AI indirectly. So this again, this you have to take this very seriously. If you don't know what you are doing, you can well try with your data, but before to extend this to a company, be very careful because you can enter in really a lot of problems. Okay, let's see. Here we see a little bit of the agenda. We had the user. Usually, it could be sitting in a company, in a desktop in the company. It can be sitting at home. Access through the browser to the Cloud AI platform. In the Cloud AI platform, we had the NCP client and the clients and the model. Sorry, and then on the we had as well here our infrastructure. Today we are gonna run it in a Google Cloud VM virtual machine. We will have a reverse proxy and GINX, which will be the endpoint to end the SSL connections. The SSL connections will be the channel, encrypted channel through which all the NCP sessions and messages are going through from client to server and back to the and from server to the responses back from the server to the client. And then on we will have an NCP server container which will implement the OAuth 2.0. So once we have the SSL endpoint, so the SSL session established, through the session we will we will authenticate the client versus the NCP server we have here. And then once it's authenticated, we will grant access to the protected resource that in this case is the route SSE, where we can start to querying, first of all, which tools are available in this NCP server, and we will allow the client to use these tools to access our data. We will implement the implementation we are going to do is multi-tenant. We will cover this a little bit later. And also, in order to protect as much as possible the system, implemented some additional measures. We can implement a lot of much more. We will filter in the firewall we had in Google Cloud. We will filter this connection only to the source networks that owns Cloud AI or Anthropic, and also we are going to do sanitization of the queries in order to forbid, if you want to say that, some of the dangerous statements in SQL like delete, add, update, etc. We will cover this later. And finally, just as a second or a two layers protection, we can also use a read-only user to connect to the MS SQL database. So, as I said again, is no everything that you do in order to protect your infrastructure is not enough, and you have to be constantly monitoring. Believe me, when I just start this project, as soon as I publish the NCP server, I start to receive a lot of test scanners trying to access to the server because, listen, there is thousands of bots, automatic bots are trying to detect vulnerable points for many reasons. Most of their financial reasons to get money from you, from your company, for whoever, and some others just for fun. But it's at the moment that you open a door to internet, you need to be sure that you do it the most secure possible. And an advice, this is Just on if you are not sure what you are doing, don't do it. When you work in very secure environments like defense or intelligence services, they told you the best secure is no connection. Tan simple than that. And when you work, for example, for the government, many places they told you, so you have to run this application in a data center with no connection to internet because again, the best security for a system is not wired to connect to internet. That's simple than that. If you have to do it, you need to be sure that you have a proper team which is able to analyze the security of the system. Is not do it. It's up to you to do it. You carry out with your own risks. So the main components, as I said, is gonna be one side AVN in Google Cloud, NGINX server, reverse proxy. This will be used for SSL termination. We will use Let's Encrypt certificates, which are free certificates, well-known company, which now is providing probably the last time I read it, probably is kind of the 180 million web servers are using Let's Encrypt certificates. We had as well working with Let's Encrypt certificates the Certbot Docker, which essentially take care of the renewal of the certificates every 90 days maximum. So we have free certificates and a process which automatically renew the certificates instead of us. The NCP server is something that we already saw, but it will be extended to the new requirements to be connected to Cloud AI and the connection to the database, which can be the database, can be MS SQL, can be whatever. That is not relevant, it's just an example. Okay, and what more? Okay, this we will cover later. Let me show you something more here. We will pass you later. Here you have the documentation of the Cloud AI, which told you how to create the build connectors. All the documentation you need here, I will provide later. You have the domains from Cloud AI's connecting this network, this range of networks, our firewall in Cloud AI. Sorry, in Google Cloud, Let's Encrypt, as I told you, the 650 million websites, almost nothing. NGINX, which is the reverse proxy, and Certbot. All this documentation I will provide you later to you. Well, take a look and read the documentation. It's very extended topic. We will not enter too much in NGINX and Certbot Let's Encrypt. I will just show you where are the configuration files because it's not we never ends. This is so massive topic, the reverse proxy, and the configuration is you need to be not I will say not an expert, but as well you need to know deeply how the HTTP protocol works, how you can manage the context, because this is the front, this is the door, this is the guardian of your dog or your door, and then on set up correctly NGINX server, we can extend to ours. If somebody is you want to me to do also a video, but it's not connected with the topic of the channel, we can do it. But yeah, it's a completely huge topic, and then on you can see here as well that the NGINX is very mature already on the market. So this is not the weakest point on your so the itself the Docker is already tested for many years. I know NG INX for years, and then I've been using it for in many projects. The biggest problem with this is that is you need to know what you are doing as well, because it's not you can create a very weak configuration which allow to do many things, no? And then that's again the matter that to implement this in project. If you want to do it just for fun to see how to do it, it's fine. It's not, again, if you want to do this in your company, you need to have some people which are really specialized on the topic. Certbot as well is a Docker, is an image which is already prepared to work with Lesson Create and do automatically the renewal of the certificates. Okay, let's move to the code a little bit. I think here we have some of the nodes running. The most important, our Docker Compose. So everything is running in a project in Docker Compose. We had this, sorry, we had this. I'm preparing another video to do exactly the same. We can connect as well now ChatGPT to your NCP server is completely different. While essentially we connect to the same data, but the way that the OpenAI has implemented this vary a lot from the way that the Claude is doing. Claude is following simply the protocol, the NCP protocol. Obviously, is their protocol, so they follow strictly how NCP works, but OpenAI is doing differently, and we will need to adapt the the current NCP server we had that it was used in previous videos with the Cloud desktop. And then on now, what we are doing is just implementing an additional layer for security and also the infrastructure which allow us to do an SSL tunnel in between Cloud AI and our infrastructure. This is our service NCP demo. So we had essentially we need three containers in our composer. The demo this is our NCP server with the environments, blah blah blah, with our health check. Here you can extend to other NCP servers behind the NGINX proxy. We'll cover this in a second. Your NGINX server, which access to the certificates, to the logs, to the configuration. All this stuff is hosted on the host, on the VM itself, and then we are just mounting some of the files and the folders into the Docker container to in React mode in order not to be, how to say, change it for somebody who potentially, because of bad configuration, access to the NGINX. Remember, the NGINX server is the door, is the machine which essentially is exposed to internet. And then we have the Certbot, which works autonomously, just every 2 hours is checking if your certificate is working or not. The demo container, so when I mentioned before the multi-tenant is, oops, what happened here? Well, exactly. You may have many subscribers to Cloud AI sitting in your company, in another country, at home, whatever. So they access to the public IP address you had you expose. This is a connection that happens from the browser. The browser is connected to Cloud AI, and Cloud AI connect to NGINX server. And then NGINX server, it will be ending the SSL connections from in between Cloud AI and your infrastructure. And then on the way that you can build a multi-tenant infrastructure, when you point to your public IP address with https // abc.com, you are getting or closing an SSL connection to the NGINX server. Then on you can rewrite usually in HTTP you can, after the URL, you can write a subdomain, not a subdomain, a folder or a route, for example, server 1, server 2, server 3. And this way, when you write https blah 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 abc.com/server1, nginx internally will send this request to the server one, to the Docker, which is running server one. Here, server 2 to the Docker, which is running server 2. And here, if you just write /server 3, it rewrite or send the request to server 3. So this way, just having the simple endpoint, you can have multiple NCP servers with access to different databases, CRNs, whatever, and everything is exposed through the same endpoint. And sorry if I'm very repeating this many times. Again, you are opening the door, so this is the key component need to be configured properly in order to set up this configuration. So let's continue with that. So here we have the Docker file. So essentially, it's very simple. Docker with Python. We install the libraries we need in this case to access an MS SQL Server, PyODBC, and then on, yeah, we expose a port, and then we just run a Python script. If we go to the here we have some other scripts. Just when you initialize Let's Encrypt, you just run this script, and you create a certificate for your domain. And once your certificate is created for one domain, during 19 days, the certificate is valid, and this certificate will be used later on by NGINX reverse proxy to close or to establish the correct SSL sessions. And we will have the third bot Docker to monitor when the certificate needs to be renewed. So let's take a look to the server OAuth. So we have here essentially, well, our imports, load environment, and here one of the points I mentioned you before. So we are sanitizing the SQL queries. What we are doing here, we are using natural language on the UI of Cloth AI. So tell me, for example, which tables you have in the database. Then this is sent to the model. The model is in connection with our NCP server. The model and the NCP client knows what they can do with this NCP server, and then on, well, what I need to do to provide you the list of tables are in the database, and then I need to create a list, show tables, blah blah blah, whatever command is available. Is just creating a SQL query with this, and this SQL query will be sent to one of the tools that you have available in your NCP server. And then, as you probably know, in in SQL, there is a lot of commands which allow you to either insert, roach, update, delete, truncate, drop, create, whatever. So something that essentially is changing your data. Obviously, depending on your requirement, you may allow some of these dangerous keywords, or as you can see here, DLL patterns, so something that is executing a store procedure, transactional patterns as well, begin with transactions. This is to use the TSQL in this case in MSQL server. So if you change the database, you will probably need to access the connection as well, obviously, what is allowed and not allowed in terms of SQL. There is some variety, some differences, especially when you are using TSQL or you are using I forgot the name of the language that is used in Oracle or in other databases. So there is a small changes that you will need to adjust for your specific database. And also what you can do, everything is part of the SQL language. So this is nothing uninvented. You don't need to roll back, you don't need to exec. If you have a specific or you want to build something that allow this, it's up to you. I recommend you not to do it because again, this is something that is exposed to internet, and then on maximum, in my opinion, I will recommend you to expose your data to be used as a context by your model, by Cloud AI to, well, speed up or yeah, speed up to speed up the daily job or some of the components of your company. We had a class to validate this the query that the model is producing to satisfy your request. So you can see here, and there is kind of sanitization of what you can do. We have here a method to get the configuration of the database. Again, if you are using another database, you may need to do that. A method to serialize the raw data when the database, especially with PyODBC, is returning data. There is an object for some of the classes that internally works in PyODBC, and then we need to transform this to text. That is the obviously what understand or what we had to send back to the LLM in order to be used as a context. We have here the tools that are allowed in our NCP server: list tables, describe table, execute SQL, and get table. Again, this is just an adaptation to the original NCP server we have, working with Cloud Desktop, and the method itself didn't change. We just adapted to the real only mode in order to be as much secure as possible. We have here some of the methods that we are gonna use to implement OAuth, the authorization server, the protected resource method. So here there is this NCP server is working as well as authorization server and as a server which expose some of the resource servers. It's telling to the Cloud AI which resources are protected here, and also is the server that is acting in the original case. I remember what I told you at the beginning, is the server which is authorizing access to the this NCP server is acting like Google in the initial case I explained you. And then on is acting as Google, is granting access dynamically when you create the custom connector. Cloud AI will interact with the authorization server. Okay. Resource protector, register, authorize, all these endpoints, all these methods is to implement the OAuth version 2. Health check, this is also Cloud AI is pulling every 30 seconds is an run if the server is alive, it's a keep alive. SSE here, head, this is just to discover what we the endpoints, the message queue, and this is the method to post NCP messages from the client and to receive the request. This is the tunnel that we use to exchange data in between the server and the client. So here we will handle depending how the client is posting. It is an initialized notification initialized. This is back, a response, you can see here. So we had the method that the client is sending us is initialized. We respond with this. If the sending is notification initialized, this is pure MCP protocol. Tool list, we are describing the tools that are available in our server. We are returning our tool list, and again, always JSON RCP 2.0, which is the standard in NCP. Tools call, when the client requests to call a tool, depending which tool the client wants to use, well, we just simply, if he wants to use the list table, we just, well, implement this method and we return the result. If they want to describe this table, we extract from the request of the LLM the table and we describe the table. Query, the same, etc., etc. And the response, essentially here we are taking the response, we build the response, and we return it back to the user. Okay, and list prone resources. This is as well NCP prones. There is nothing as well. Response, etc. We are returning an empty list because we don't have in this NCP server resources or prones, etc. Here, also very important, we are using Starlet in this NCP server together with Ubicon to just describe all the routes available with their method, available method in the server. We had the authorization server, well-known authorization server, well-known protected resources, register authorized token. This is for the OAuth protocol, the health to the keep alive, and the SSE to work with our NCP protocol. Finally, just we simply run our application, Starlet application with Ubicon. How the UATH is gonna work, or how it's working in our protocol is we have is authorization standard. The client obtains access to protected resources without knowing user credentials. This is the resource, the protected resources is /SSE, which is the entry point to speak with the tools, to use the tools. There is two discovery endpoints, which is the well-known authorization server and protected resources, and the steps works like that. These are the dynamic registration. Maybe we can show here as well in the. Oops, come on. Okay, there is a dynamic registration. The client send the client name and redirect URI, and the server return the client ID and the client secret. The authorization, this is what happened in this in the initial process when we create when we connect the server, we just follow this. When we connect, we just when we connect Cloud AI and we create the custom connector, we follow this. We have the one authorization request and the authorization grant is done. Then on to connect, every time that we need to connect, there is a dynamic registration, the client name, client name, and redirect URI. This is what is returning here, the client name and redirect URIs. And then on, we send an authorization grant. This is this is the second point where we send this client ID and redirect URIs we send to authorization server, and the authorization issue and temporary authorization code. The client requests an access token with authorization code that the authorization server just sent, and there is in that moment a token exchange. The client requests exactly what I said. The client requests an access token with the authorization tokens that the authorization server just provide, and the authorization server responds with access token, the type token bearer, and with an expiration by default of 1 hour, 300 600 seconds. With this with this token, the client open an SSE session with authorization server. If you can use as well WebSockets to do these sessions. You remember that SSE is synchronous, WebSockets is asynchronous. If you are doing asynchronously, the only thing that you need to add is every time that you make a request, you need to send the token bearer. In the case of SSE, it's a little bit more comfortable. It's a little bit easier because you establish a session, in this case, just for 1 hour. And then once you send the token, the opens, you try to open or you open the session to the SSA resource, the NCP server will start, the NCP communication will start. You first of all will send an initialize, client will send an initialize, you will respond with a tool list, and then on the communication there stops, is waiting up to the LLM decide to use one of the tools available. If the tools, if the model thinks that it needs to use a tool, it will uh, use a message, an NCP message tools call, and then on it will send something with the token bearer, a mess and NCP message with the token bearer to the NCP server. If the message is not expired or the token is not expired, it will use the tool, provide a response, and send you the response back to the client. And the client, the LLM, will decide it needs to use another tool or not, or it has enough information to satisfy the question that you formulate. And case that you send a request to use a tool and the token has expired, but you renew the authorization, asking again to issue an authorization code and exchanging o sea, you return to the point step number 2 I explained here. In any case, all these steps I will provide you later on the documentation, just to you follow step by step how all the process with once you have to do this dynamic authentication and authorization works on top on the NCP protocol. Okay. What more? Apart of that, we have the server. We had our NGINX. NGINX, we had a global configuration file. This is because in NGINX you can manage multiple domains, and then on there is a global configuration, and then on you can have configurations per configuration files, which usually you have in the conf.d folder, nginx conf.d. You have a default configuration. You can have multiple configuration which in real time, because the model can be reloaded dynamically, then reloaded and merged and reloaded dynamically in real time. Obviously, this is a little bit, is what as you can see here, the nomenclature is quite encrypted, no, or quite cryptic, so you need to know very well what you are doing. The only thing I'm going to tell you is essentially you need to set up nginx.conf and default.conf at least, where you had all the servers and ports that you had you are exposing to internet. Here port 80 with our domain, 443 with our domain, the certificates, the configuration for SSL, the location, the route in our server, the different endpoints, the health, well-known authorization, protected resources, register, You can see here that we are using the nomenclature here when somebody is asking something to slash demo slash register is redirecting to this container into inside the Docker Compose network and is checking all these headers in the HTTP protocol. Here we are restricting as well what is possible, what is not possible in terms of protocols, etc., etc. Authorized token, SSE head, etc. Message demo messages. This is at the end the queue where we are posting the messages once we establish the protocol. Here we have ChatGPT. We don't touch this, and a placeholder for future. Again, this is matter of a 2 hours video, so we will not cover too much here. Okay, so let's go to do a short demo. Let me just copy this, which I'm gonna need to do that, to implement. Let me here. Claude, we can disconnect here and remove. Come on. Okay. So you add connector to this, for example, database or database 2. Well, database. Let's keep it simple, and then on it had to be HTTPS semicolon slash slash your domain. Here is the server. So this is the NCP server you want to access and SSE. You have here advanced settings, but for the moment, as even when they say that it's optional, it's not optional. If you don't implement correctly SSE, it's not gonna work. So remember that it's still on beta. It's quite stable, but it's still on beta. It's not final. So my belief is they are gonna implement as well the authentication optional, but still they are trying to minimize in their side their if case that there is not authentication, any problems that may happen. No? When you do an add, you just simply, and then on, if this doesn't happen at this speed, it's because something is wrong. And in any case, you will see a log in the. You can configure, and you remember we had 4 tools, and then on you can configure how it's going to behave. So every time that the user wants to use the tool, ask for permission. I recommend you to do. You can disable or enable anything here. So we already had Claude AI connected to our NCP server. Now we can just simply go to the tables, o sea, to create a chat, and it's like any other chat. You just simply activate it. It's not activated here. You can check here as well which tools they had, and then can you list the tables in the database. And then on here, it will ask me always allow once or decline. No? And it's using our tables. Now you can interact, you can access specific data uh, of any table. Is redundant with what you saw here. Is one is working, the other is working. It's not you have a problem on your NCP server. And well, let me just review. Yeah, and then that's pretty much all. we have now a secure NCP server with OAuth 2.0 SSE and TLS connecting the SQL server to our cloud AI uh, subscription. Cloud AI, they had different subscriptions, enterprise, teams, and personal subscriptions. Uh, Team subscriptions, once you configure the connector, is available for every member in the team. In enterprise, I don't know because I didn't use still the enterprise connection. So there is here another I will say issue. Once you had the at least in the Teams subscription, once you have connected to an NCP server, is connecting to available for any user in your team. So this is not optimal, and well, probably in the future they will improve this to do it a little bit more granular because today is really not enough from company perspective. I will say no. If you want to if you want to implement a granular access to multiple teams in this scenario I mentioned you before, in a multi-tenant scenario, this is obviously not enough. Not enough because yeah, here if you had a subscription and once you set up a connection, a custom connector is available for every user in the team, it's not granular enough the way that Cloud AI is doing. So, but this is another story. Here the topic is already covered and that's pretty much all. Thank you very much for watching the video up to this point. I hope that you find it interesting, useful for your job, for your training, for whatever reason are you watching these videos. And if so, give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. Consider become a member of the channel. This way you will have access to the code. Plenty of code is available. Practically 80% of the code is available, but for paid subscribers, obviously there is access to the projects with us complete projects end to end like this, where you can get access to more than a conventional person that is just watching the video on YouTube. Again, you can also help me with making comments and sharing these videos with other friends and colleagues in YouTube. Thank you very much and see you soon.